So long back I wrote an article in my blog, I still can't find it, saying how to get rich slowly, where I took a 10,000 rupee investment and I said, and I made a chart which is not very difficult for anybody to make in Excel, saying what this 10,000 would be worth after few years. So let's look at that table. After 5 years it will be worth 25,000 rupees. So instead of 10,000 rupees today that you save, that you want to spend, you say, okay, I will spend this after 5 years. So after 5 years it will be worth 24,000 rupees. Now similarly, this 10,000, if it is kept for say 40 years, it will be worth 1.5 crores. 10,000 is worth 1.5 crores, not 20,000, right? 10,000 is worth 1.5 crores at 20%, but 40 years. Now what you're seeing is, you're not even going to believe that just 10,000 rupees is going to make me a crorepati, right? That is because you have the power of time with you, right? You have the power of N. You're just 22 years of age. So for you, this 10,000 is that powerful. This 10,000 is worth 1.5 crores if it grows at 20%. What happens if it does not grow at 20% and it grows only at 15%? It will be worth only 26 lakhs, right? It will be worth just 26 lakhs if the rate of return goes to 15%, and if the rate of return goes to 10%, it would be worth only 4.5 lakhs, right? Only 4.5 lakhs after 40 years if it grows at 10%. Will it grow at 10%, 15%, 20%, something which we don't know. But after some time you can say, oh, now it is growing only at 12%. Now it is growing only at 10%. Oh, this month, this year it has grown at 20%. Right? These things will happen. We do not know at what rate it will grow, but we know it will grow. So if that 10,000 were to be spent today, it is just not going to be available to you after 40 years. Now the advantage of having a calculated or a table like this is, you know that if 1 rupee of today is worth how much. So 10,000 of today is worth 1.5 crores after 40 years if it grows at 20%. Now that means that, and you are all going to, if you are 20, you are going to need at least 10 crores for retirement. There is no doubt. So if you are 20 years of age and you do not know how much you want at retirement, it is a simple $1 million. $1 billion, $1 million as of now means 8 crores. So nobody hearing this video, listening to this video, watching this video, who is less than 25 years of age can afford to retire on anything less than 10 crores. It may sound very big, but it is not very big, because inflation will make sure that the amount that you require is at least that much. This will not make you very comfortable. You will actually need more. So you start by saying today's rupee. Oh, but Subra, I am not 22 years of age, I am 45 years of age. What should I do? Same thing. Even if you were to save 10,000 rupees and you leave it there till your age of 65, well, it will still become 67,000-70,000 rupees, right? It's not too bad. It becomes 7 times in this period. So there is no reason why you should not save just because you are 45 years of age or 40 years of age. Still helps. Forget that. If you start putting it away as 10,000 every month, then obviously the amount becomes much bigger, and we are all going to need it. So just go and create a calculator and see how much is it worth today. So for this person, it is worth 7 times. So instead of 1,000 rupees spending today, he will have 7,000 rupees. Instead of 1 lakh being spent today, he will have 7 lakhs. I'm talking of 20 years. So if he is 40 years of age, at 60 he will have. If he is 45 years of age, at 65 he will have. So that is the kind of power of compounding that one should be looking at, and seeing that don't look at it as 100 rupees of today, because 100 rupees of today, or say 1 lakh of today, is worth about 15 crores for this guy at the end of longish period, or 1.5 crores at the end of a longish period, right? So 40 years maybe. So that is the way to look at it and say, okay, it becomes 15 times. Here, when I'm getting older, it becomes 7 times. And obviously, when the nearer you are to the target, the power of compounding will be less. So whenever you look at an expense, whatever it is, buying a second-hand car versus buying a new car, okay, you go to Dave Ramsey, and Dave Ramsey says that never buy a new car, always buy a second-hand car. Pay off that debt. Why should you pay off the debt? Same, exactly the reverse impact of this is what you will feel, right? So if you ask me, the next big problem in the US is student debt. So if you have student debt, as soon as possible, start paying it off, right? I mean, start paying it off today, but if you have some money, just pay off the debt. If you have a home mortgage, to some extent I would have said you just continue the home mortgage and the investments, because home mortgages are normally 30-40 years. You cannot wait to repay, but you understand the power of compounding by arriving at this number, saying how many times will it become. Okay, it will become 5 times, 7 times, 13 times, 15 times, right? So when we saw 10,000 becoming 1.5 crores, so which means 1 lakh can become 5 crores, right? So 1 lakh can become 15 crores. So that is the power, right? So find out the factor, n factor, what is the number of times this money becomes by the time you are 60 or 65, or even when you are 90, because you do not know how long you are going to live and you will need money till that stage. So don't worry about how long you will live. Start investing today. Calculate, use these kind of calculators which are available. I'm not the only one who has created, there'll be many. Go to Google. Even using very benign American inflation rates, what was a 1 million target for me, thanks to inflation, is about 8 million. 7.8 million is what it would be worth if I had 1 million when I was born, and if I had done nothing and it had grown just with inflation, US inflation, invested in US, and as per US inflation, it would be worth $8 million today, right? So 8 times is what it would have become. So similarly, assuming that India also inflates at the same rate as US over the next 40 years, 1 rupee of today will become maybe about 8 rupees, but if it grows at 20%, then you're talking of becoming 15 times, right? Not 8 times, but 15 times. Understand these numbers, understand that 1 rupee of today is worth much more much later on, and you will need it at those stages, right? At those stages you will need money much more than you will need today, and that time you might need it for necessities rather than for luxuries. Today a car may be a luxury for you, but at the age of 80 you may need a car and driver to go anywhere, right? Today you may be able to use public transport when you're 22 years of age, or when you're 42 years of age, or even when you're 52 years of age. But when you're 82 years of age, you may be perfectly incapable of using public transport. So those people whom I say you can use public transport, they look at me like, oh my God, what are you saying? How can we are rich, right? So we are rich, we are wealthy, whatever. But they wouldn't even think of using a public transport. But there are a lot of people who should be using public transport, because if you understand the value of money, today's money, like if a 40-year-old is spending money on a car and a driver and things like that, he needs to understand that he needs his money for his retirement. And there are too many people whom I see who do not understand this very basic, that when at 40, if you can't discipline yourself from spending, and you say, oh my God, it's so hot, I can't travel by train, it's so far away, I can't get a rake, or some nonsense like that. It is just basis of the cash flow that they have, that they are talking like this. But when this cash flow ceases, that is the time when you are retired, you've got your expenses but no income. That is the time when you might regret saying, oh my God, I didn't know that 1 rupee of money at that stage was worth 15 rupees now. So 1 rupiah at your age of 22 is worth 15 rupees at the age of your retirement, right? So that is the kind of money. So if you can save 10,000 every month, imagine the impact that it will have on your retirement. If you can save 20,000 every month, imagine that you will be able to retire early. And if you get good returns in the market. So you need everything. You need to be able to put a decent amount of money, and it should grow at a good pace. Now the pace or R is not something which you know how. The only thing that you can control is how much you put and for how long you put. So the earlier you start, and the more the amount that you put, the greater will be the corpus. This is something very simple. You must have heard many times. Start early and keep investing regularly. But just calculate that number. For the 22-year-old, it is 15. 1 rupee of today is worth 15 rupees at this age of 60. Right? So for you, just go and find out what is that number. If you're 35, if you're 42, if you're 50, whatever, that is the number. So it could be something like just 2 if you start at the age of 52 or 53. But if you start at the age of 45, it could be 5. If you start at the age of 22, it could be 15. If you start at the age of 27, it could be 12. Right? So just calculate that number and see how much your you are going to likely to have in the future, then say, okay, I need $1 million, maybe $2 million by the time I retire. For that I need 15. So at 22, if I save 1 rupee, it is going to be worth 15. So I will save 1 rupee. Or I have that 50,000 rupees which I go out as a signing on bonus. 25,000 I'll spend, but 25,000 I'll put away in an account which I will not touch till I'm 60 or 65, right? So start doing that, and you arrive at that number, see how that number works. Then every frivolous expense, and don't always think in terms of 10,000 or 1 lakh, think in terms of 1,000 also. You may not think in terms of 100 because the amount would be too small, but remember 1,000 rupees of age of 22 is still worth 15 lakhs, right? It's not a small amount of money. So because it's 15 times, oh sorry, it's worth 1.5 lakhs. 10,000 is 15 lakhs, right? So sorry, I got the numbers wrong. 10,000 is 1.5 crores. So 1,000 is 15 lakhs, right? So instead of spending 1,000 today, if you put it away in an investment account which grows at a particular pace, you will still have 15 lakhs at your retirement time. That is not going to be a very big amount because of inflation, but still it is better than zero. So I start thinking in terms of that factor of 15, factor of 7, factor of 5, and then investing becomes easier. And yeah, I mean, doing things like using public transport, eating at home, all those things, small chindi things as we call it, all this will add up to your retirement kitty. Thank you.